And you can pretty much do it
Felger and Mazz.
in perpetuity.
Yep. The Sports Hub.
I am here today to tell you, after what we saw last night, Mr. Wilbon, that the Knicks have found the formula, and the Celtics, for all of the great story that it is with Tatum coming back and everything, they reminded us they're this team that plays with their food. They lose these ridiculous home games for no reason. The Knicks are going to the finals. What do you think?
That's not that big an overreaction. The Celtics, the thing is, they throw in routinely one clunker a series. Yeah. Even on the way to the championship that year, one clunker. To have a second one like this again at home, it was bothersome. Either they're cavalier about it and they don't think much about it, or they can't do anything about it. Either way is not good news. And it is fair to wonder, I'm not sold on Cleveland, Toronto. It's fair to wonder, okay, have we overrated and overstated the Celtics?
Filling in for Mazz today in the Mazz chair, Cerrone Battle. How you doing, Cerrone?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Excellent. Big Jim in our update studio, and we'll start with some Celtics. And is it an overreaction for those guys to be talking that way?
For the Knicks, yeah. Just automatically putting the Knicks in the conference finals, I think, is pretty wild. I think if the Celtics were playing the Hawks, the series would be over already. If the Knicks were playing the Sixers team, they'd be in the battle as well. But I think it's kind of an overreaction either way. I think the Celtics will move on. I think the Knicks will move on. But putting the Knicks in the conference finals with that much confidence is pretty wild, considering they haven't been a decent franchise since the 70s.
Okay, so that specific thing is some of the questions swirling around the Celtics. And they mostly be, I think they're more national than local, as usual. But are those questions unfair?
No.
Why?
I think the Celtics, they're a very frustrating team. As a Celtic fan or a member of the Green Team, they are very frustrating. I think from the coaching staff all the way down to the whoever guys who've been on the court in this series, and I don't know what's going on, but there's a stubbornness there, a refuse to change. I'm gonna do what I do. The analytics numbers say I'm gonna do this. It's eventually going to work. Yeah, eventually it could be Game 7, and that can cost you rest days. But if you want to get things done, you have to make changes in the moment, in the real time. And I'm not seeing that from them. I'm not seeing adjustments from the players or the coaching staff. And that's the frustrating thing with the Celtics that leads to these conversations you're seeing nationally.
That question on Get Up there, have we overrated the Celtics? Excuse me. Did that Knicks series end all of a sudden? Or are they still in that series with the Hawks? Like, I get it. If you want to feel positive about them, I get, Mike Greenberg's a Knicks fan, fine. And maybe the Celtics are a little bit more flawed, but overrated them? No, because who's in the way of the Celtics, and why are they now in a dogfight with this lowly Sixers team? It's themselves. It's their play style. Yeah. It's the coaching. No, I don't think we've overrated the Celtics. Who's tripping up the Celtics? The reason they're in Game 6 against the 76ers? Themselves. It's not because the 76ers are better than we thought or we've overrated the team overall.
So what's your concern level out there with the Celtics? Not necessarily with this series, but with their championship medal over what you've seen. Mine's been dented a little bit. I said if this takes more than 5 games, something has gone wrong. Or you should be looking at them differently. If you're an NBA champion, these first-round series are perfunctory. And this, when you go 6, it becomes a little less than perfunctory. And we had this great stat yesterday, Cerrone. I don't know if you still have it, Vin. But do you know that the last 12 NBA champions, the last 12, did in their first round never played more than a 5-game series? Every NBA championship since, I think it was the 2014 Spurs, every NBA champion, their first-round series was a sweep or a gentleman's sweep. No one went 6 games. There's that stat right there. And I think I didn't know that number going in, but that's sort of why I said if this takes more than 5 games, that's kind of trouble.
Yeah.
Because the way the NBA works is that that first round series is a warm-up. So mine's been dented a little bit on their overall championship medal. You?
Yes.
Why? How?
Because I think the mistakes and things they're going through now will happen. I think they're going to win this series. But it's going to happen again in the second round. It could happen again in the conference final and against a finals team that's a legit title contender. It's going to happen again, and teams are going to capitalize and not give you a chance at recovering. I think having these mistakes against the Sixers, it's like, okay, I got another game. I got another game. You do this when you're down 2-1 or something like that. There's no coming back from it. And then we're sitting there all summer saying, What happened? How come they didn't fix this? How come they didn't fix that? And the issue with this team in this series didn't start in the last 2 weeks. They lost to Philly the first game of the season the same way they lost the game the other night. Edgecombe, Maxey, drop coverage, missing a ton of threes. It was the same issue in game one as it was the other day. And it's been an issue with this team all season. It's why their record was what it was against the top teams in the conference. This thing is coming, it keeps coming back around, and there's no adjustment, and that's the frustrating part for me.
Obviously, start with the coaching, specifically.
Yeah.
Specifically, what do you not like from Mazzulla, the adjustments that you want to see that you're not seeing? Specifically, what's your issue with the coaching right now?
No adjustments whatsoever. If I'm sitting there, first of all, this is the biggest thing, and I put this in a message this morning. My green teamers might get mad at me for this. Celtic fans are the biggest fans of bad players in the NBA.
They love bums.
They love the bums.
Love the fringy
It's
role
been
player.
that way for years. There's a guy's name in the rafters just because he came in and got physical, and they put his name up in the banners. Walter McCarty. I love Walter. It's been going on for decades. At ML Carr with the towel. There's always a guy or three on every team that fans and some coaches want to constantly throw out there because they're good hustle guys. They got good jazz hands on defense, but they can't do anything else. And in this case, Cater should not be back on the court. Cater, he's done nothing this series but foul people. I think he has more fouls than made shots. It's just a mismatch. It's a bad series for him. He takes the last game, and it kind of looked like, you know what, you haven't had it going this series. You haven't been really a part of this. Let me leave you out there, get you a little taste of this series, get you a little burn. And they got burned because of it. Second half of that game, Vucevic and Garza, 0 shot attempts the whole second half of that game. It's 4-on-5 when Cater's on the court because he's nothing outside of the paint.
So you want Vucevic, though? I thought Embiid owned him in that game.
Defensively, yes. But when he's on the offense, Embiid has to defend him. He has to go away from the basket. Even if Vucevic or Garza is not getting the ball, Embiid is 20 feet from the paint now. So Peyton Pritchard gets the layups. Early in the game, Tatum gets a layup. Brown gets a dunk on the baseline. All that because Embiid has to leave the paint. When Cater's on the floor, the commentators are, man, look at Embiid move on defense. Yeah, because he doesn't have to go anywhere. He's one step away from blocking a shot. He doesn't have to. You have to put him out there, make him work on defense. He didn't make any adjustments. I haven't seen double big. I haven't seen them go small. Okay, you want to put Embiid at center? I'm going to put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum at center and make you chase one of those guys and have him on the floor. Get him off the floor. He gets a knee injury, goes out, comes back in. They didn't attack him. Let's see if that knee is healthy. They didn't do none of that. I'm not seeing any adjustments from them, and it's frustrating. And Hauser, he's doing nothing for you defensively. But I got to leave him out there. He's my guy. Analytics say he's going to get it going. He hits a three, gives up a foul on the three the very next trip. No adjustment from the staff. And the biggest thing that got me throwing the remote at the TV, y'all remember the play, Jaylen Brown getting pushed back 90 feet.
Checked starting at his own free throw line?
He's trying to dribble up the court against Grimes. He couldn't do it. He pokes it out. Then he takes a bad three. You got Peyton Pritchard. You got Derek White on the floor. You are not a point. What are you doing? And I know Sam Cassell, who's was a great point guard in his day, is sitting there like, this is ridiculous. But it seems like Mazzulla doesn't listen or doesn't want to make adjustments, and that's going to get this team burnt in the long run.
But adjustments mean they can change these things.
Yes, they can.
What can't change? In other words, looking at Derek White, is he just unfortunately kind of now reached bum status because he can't make a shot to save his life?
I think he can hit shots. I think because he's getting open. He's getting his looks. He's just not making them. The thing you can't adjust, I guess, some of the one-on-one and B when he's got it going. But you have to sacrifice to say, okay, if he's got his, we can't let the other guys get going. We can't let Grimes get 18. We can't let Maxey get 25 and a ton of rebounds. We can't let Edgecombe get more rebounds than Brown and Tatum. Those things you can adjust to. The one thing the Celtics can't change, that's kind of giving them problems. They were the best team in the league this year at not turning the ball over. They're turning it over a ton because they're not as athletic as the Sixers aren't as skilled, but Edgecombe, Maxey, Paul George, even Drummond when he's got it going, they're more athletic than the Celtics. So those long cross-court passes, the lazy dribbling, Those young, quick guys are getting to it, and the turnover numbers are through the roof. That's something you can't adjust. You can't really change. You're not going to be more athletic than them, but you can change your play style and say, you know what, Jalen, you can't dribble against these guys, but you got 50 pounds on Edgecombe. Get on the block. We'll just pass it to you. You just turn around and shoot like Embiid did to them.
Coaching's an issue for me. It's a question mark. There's a question mark going into the playoffs. I think not enough Celtics fans. Some do. I don't want to paint you all with a broad brush, but I just it's different. Cerrone. He obviously did a really good job in the regular season, and he has some absolute qualities to him.
Yeah.
That I think really translate in the regular season for sure. I think teams play hard for him. There's a good culture there. I think he's helped navigate, and whatever contribution he's made to the navigating of Brown and Tatum and the superstars and the egos, and last year's team even had more superstar elements to it. You know, he's a good culture guy, and I think he's a part of making that all work. And yes, so I think he has qualities. I think that's a regular season thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you get into the playoffs, though,
yeah,
everyone's playing hard.
Yep.
And now it becomes about matchups, adjustments, ATOs, stopping the bleeding. Your team's playing a certain way. How do you stop it and get them to adjust and do something else? It becomes all like those little things in a game to game. I think he's totally unproven in that regard. And in fact, when I really look at it, I think he kind of sucks at it. Or this Celtics team has dropped a lot of games in a couple of series to teams they shouldn't be losing to. Mm-hmm. And I think every time you look at it, you say, well, that was kind of coaching, as whether it was Spoelstra or even Nick Nurse, or, it's like there's a Thibodeau. You're losing a coaching battle in there as well. When you lose, I think coaching's a factor in there.
They're better at that clipboard. They pull up that clipboard and they draw stuff.
Those coaches.
Like you said, in playoffs, everybody's playing hard, so they don't need motivation.
Clipboard.
They're better at that. They get that clipboard out. They draw up something that's going to get somebody wide open.
Joe have a clipboard?
He had. He was scribbling on it the other day. I don't know what he wrote on there.
I've never paid attention to this.
Yeah, he had it. He had it out, but I don't know what they wrote. But he's not making the in-game adjustments. For example, if Maxey or Edgecombe are killing you, they're coming down the court full speed, and the guys you got out there can't handle it. You got a kid on the bench who's probably your best on-ball defender. I know he's a rookie, and Hugo Gonzalez, but he's probably your best on-ball defender. A great coach would look down there and say, you know what? Give me 3 minutes of that. Can you come in here and pick up 90 feet and make him work?
Stop the bleeding.
Stop the bleeding. Right. Just give me if it works in 3 minutes, I'll give you 6. He doesn't do that. It's time for, it's exactly 2:14. I got to bring so-and-so in to make this play. And it's like, make the adjustments. During the regular season, he used his whole roster, and that's how they won games. You can't get to this point now and say, I'm going to shrink it down no matter what. And you find yourself now in a dogfight.
Okay, so I've listened to a bunch of national analysis on it. And I got to tell you, the national analysis is so different than what you hear locally. I think the team is kind of browbeat their local guys into staying away from the three-point shooting thing and the play style thing, because you don't hear it locally when people talk about the Celtics, but the national guys go right to it, and I'll give you a sample of it. And I think coaching is wrapped up into this. So Celtics back at it tonight. I know some people want to say, don't lose this one. I'm still not worried about the series.
Yeah.
But if I were a Celtics fan, I would be worried about are they playing any different than they did last year? I mean, their play style and some of the coaching things we're talking about is what got them last year. Is that really different this year? And that would be my overall concern. I don't know who's good enough to trip you up, but is it good enough to go all the way or even get out of these? So these are the questions. We'll take your calls with Cerrone Battle, 617-779-0985 right after this.
Now, more of
Felger and
Mazz on the Sports Hub.
Beyond the missed shots, Jason, just 2 field goal attempts in the fourth quarter. But it seemed like the offense really just kind of bogged down a little bit. What was happening?
We weren't getting stops, and then taking it out of the basket. And then obviously kind of, when it's a couple possession game, you want to, execute and try and get some good shots there. I mean, we missed layups too. I mean, we came out of a timeout and missed a layup. Made a drive, missed a layup. I don't think it was necessarily from the threes. I think it was just, have an understanding of we were in a good situation and then just didn't execute, and so we just have to be able to bounce back from that. So, I think when you have empty possession and at the other end you're not getting stops, it just gets frustrating.
So it's hard when you're pulling the ball out of your own basket. As he's saying there that our half-court offense sucks. You know what I mean? Like, we can score when we're out on the break on misses and turnovers and things like that, but when we're pulling the ball out of our basket, then it slows down. It's a half-court offense. And he's basically admitting we have no half-court offense, which...
Why is that?
Might kind of be true. I think it's that harebrained 5-out thing that they play. And I think in the playoffs it gets exposed, is what I think.
You have 2 top 10 players this season. 2 all-NBA caliber players, let's just say, on your roster. Peyton Pritchard scored 40 points in the game before. Derek White scored 40 points in the game. Sam Howes is one of the more money three-point shooters in the league. Why don't you have a half-court offense? Vucevic has been an all-star, 4 or 5 times? He's been a 16-10 center. Why aren't you one of the top? Why don't you have having a good half-court offense is coaching. It's not talent, it's coaching. There's teams that are dominant in half-court that don't. Denver Nuggets. It's Jokic, Murray, and a bunch of role players. They have a solid half-court offense because they run a real offense. It's not predictable. You can watch that game and say, okay, here comes the high pick and roll. It's either Brown, it's either Tatum. White's going to stand in the corner. House is going to stand in the deep corner. And they're either going to shoot this from here or he's going to drive. Tatum's going to weave his way around. It's very predictable. Why don't you say, you know what, let's put Tatum and Brown on the low block and just dump it in. Run it. They can't be double teamed. Try something different. That's on you.
Calls as promised. John in Wilmington. Go ahead, John.
Felger.
Yes, John.
Listen, I agree with 90% of what you guys are saying. The Celtics should win this series. I think they play two-dimensional. But outside of that, just a few points. The Celtics had a great regular season. I think that was done through a lot of these bench players that you, Cerrone, are saying that we're overrating. So I don't think it's that surprising that they've come back to earth a little bit now they've gotten to the playoffs. My biggest point is going into the series, I'm looking at Maxey, Edgecombe, PG. I think they'll win a game. But now you have Embiid coming back, and he looked pretty dominant in Game 5. And I just think it's understated the fact that the Celtics don't have much front court depth at all. So now you have Embiid looking very solid. If they're going to have to double team him, you're going to be leaving guys wide open. And I think when fully healthy, the Sixers team, I'm just not that surprised that they're taking this to 6 games. And I wouldn't be shocked to see the 7th game either. I think they'd play that way against most teams in the East.
I'm stunned. Celtics were prohibitive favorites in all these games. I don't know what the odds were for this to go even 6, but they weren't great. And so I am surprised that you're playing down to another opponent. I do not think the Sixers are all that great. But I will say this, Cerrone. The one thing that I didn't know would happen on the Sixers side is that Maxey and Embiid could both go off on the same night. Like, for example, when Embiid was off and it was the Maxey show, I get it. Maxey, Edgecombe, and they play fast and, tenacious and all of that. Now, Embiid comes back. They slow down. It's a half-court game. In Game 4, I think that really hurt the Sixers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, Embiid kind of makes them worse, or they have to be one thing or the other. It has to be the Maxey show and that fast tempo thing, or the half-court thing with Embiid. And they can't marry the two, and they're porked. And then you get to Game 5 here, and Embiid goes for 33, and Maxey goes for 20 whatever, and they both did their thing. I'm like, oh, actually, maybe they can.
But you know what happened, though? Embiid went out. Watch the game again. Embiid goes out with the knee. Maxey, 3. Paul George, layup. Grimes, 4-point play. The wings started going when Embiid went out. He comes back in. Now the Celtics are already scrambling. And then Embiid just kind of, he added to what they were doing and just kind of blended in with them, which I've been screaming for him to do for years. It wasn't the Embiid show. It was the Maxey and Paul George and Grimes show, and Embiid joined in. This is after the knee injury, after whatever it was he had. And by then, the Celtics were reeling, and they were just throwing things up, trying to get something to work. And by then, the damage was done. But the Celtics were winning most of that game. And then the wheels fell off, and they didn't adjust.
Jay in the car. Yes, Jay.
Hey, I called before this series started and asked the question, what happens when everybody starts to play hard in the playoffs? Because I just feel like the Celtics spent the entire regular season with all of these guys motivated to show what they were capable of doing. Brown, I can be a 1. All the rookies who are like, I can be an NBA player. And now we're seeing the turnovers. We're seeing other teams play playoff caliber basketball. And I'm just curious, whether or not we think that we are actually seeing the gap year Celtics right now because of all the flaws that we knew that they had coming in.
A little bit. I mean, a little bit the thing about Jordan Walsh and Shireman and those guys buzzing around like
you knew they would come back to reality.
Little go-getters. They're still doing it, but now it's the playoffs, so you see Oubre or you see the guys on the other side. They got guys who do that too. And whatever advantage you had in a Tuesday night game in the middle of March against an Eastern is like mitigated. Like it's not as big of an advantage for you as it was in the regular season.
And the key thing is they're veterans. Oubre was on the court when Isaiah Thomas was playing for the Celtics against Washington. Oubre, he's not a great player. He's seen a lot of basketball. Paul George's seen a lot of hoop. Maxi's been in a couple playoff runs, and Embiid's been around. These other guys for the Celtics really don't have a lot of experience in these situations, so they kind of freeze up a little bit. They're hesitant. They short up. Jordan Walsh hitting the side of the backboard. But, I mean, it's the biggest thing, though, for them with this series is Derek White. I always said Derek White and Peyton Pritchard are the barometer for this team. When those two guys are on, very few teams can beat the Celtics team. It doesn't matter what Mazzulla's doing, anybody else. When those two guys are on, you saw Peyton Pritchard the other night. When he was on, the Sixers had nothing for him. Derek White can't keep playing like he's doing now. He's the reason this is still a series. Is all Embiid, yes, Paul George, Maxey. If Derek White was Derek White, the series would be over already.
I understand that. It still should be over.
It's still,
Brown and Tatum combined for 2 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They're up 13 points midway through the third against the Sixers team that, I'm sorry, still was ready to pack it in.
Yeah.
And Brown and Tatum go for 2 points. Now, listen, Cerrone, to win a championship, I'm with you. They need them all going. Yeah, absolutely. Brown and Tatum won't be enough to beat those teams out west. And that's then that conversation. Against these bums, they should be able to wipe the floor with them without Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. I'm sorry. Carlos in Worcester. Yes, Carlos.
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to agree with you guys 1,000%. I agree with you, Cerrone, on it's definitely like at least 80% of it. It's coaching. The guy doesn't do in-game adjustments. He doesn't do nothing, actually. And he let's keep chucking up threes. Like, I don't get it. Like, can you at least adjust a little bit? Nope. The guy doesn't do that. I don't even know how he's still coaching the Celtics.
Let me tell you, I think at the root of it, Cerrone, is he's a numbers guy. And he's heavily analytical. And the analysts and the analytic approach is if something's not working, you don't abandon it. You stick with it because ultimately regression to the mean and averages are called averages for a reason. And so the heavy analytic teams in all sports keep doing it because that's what the formula shows. And the formula is only going to work is if you take it from the beginning to the end. If you abandon the formula in the middle of it, you need the big sample for those numbers to come through. And so I think that's what Joe Mazzulla is.
I also would add, I think sometimes he comes off to me as the fake tough guy.
Okay, so and then combine that with a personality that might be a little insecure or whatever it is because he's stubborn. So horrible combination. A stubborn nerd that's a bad combination because now you're not just married to the numbers, but you're just married to what you were doing because that's just how you're wired.
And he, the tough guy persona, the karate guy, all these things. He's tough to the media. He talks tough, whatever. He talks tough to everybody except the players.
Yeah, right.
When Tatum chucked that three in the fourth quarter and it just hit the backboard and almost knocked Derek White out, Mazzulla should have been walking up and down Jason Tatum like, what are you doing? When Jaylen Brown couldn't bring that ball up 90 feet, timeout, what are you doing? It should have been a lot of this and a lot of covering of the mouth on that sidelines. Don't talk tough to the media and let your players do whatever they want in tough situations. Be tough all the way around. Call guys out, hold them accountable, and I don't see a lot of that happening on that sideline.
Start with Celtics as they head into Game 6 tonight in Philadelphia here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Here's an update from Big Jim, and we're right back.
Boston's best sports talk. You can count on it.
2 plus 2 is a 5.
Me sento un po' battiato perché Felger and Mazz.
Am I crazy to say there's going to be a Game 7 in Boston?
Listen, the Celtics are the easiest team. Like, out of all the teams in the NBA, the Celtics are the easiest to scout. Like, they're not going to change. You go back to last year against the Celtics, against the Knicks. They missed all those threes and blew a 20-point lead. Then the next game, they're like, we're not going to change. Then they missed all those threes and blew a 20-point lead. Then they went to New York and started making shots. The Celtics are not going to change. They're going to go to Philly, and you saw the games. The only two games the Sixers won, they missed all their shots.
And they were both in Boston.
They were both in Boston. So they're not going to change. They still got those two guys and Pritchard, but the Celtics they're not going to play, man. It just depends if they make shots. Plain and simple.
Either they make their shots or they don't. That to me would be so maddening because you're so much better than some of these other teams that for it to come down to make or miss from the three-point line is you are letting these teams into the game by turning it into that equation.
Yeah.
It's the only shot the Sixers, or I'd say all these teams in the East have, including the Knicks still, is that you shoot yourself out of it.
Mm-hmm. That's the championship. I think that's the difference between them being a championship team is shooting themselves out of games.
And everybody, the national guys, turn you on and watch it. And, I don't get this from any of the local guys that cover the team at all. It's crazy. Give me Dan Lebitard. Dan Lebitard, the first cut, please.
Getting to the sports of the evening last night, I really do hate watching the Boston Celtics when they're missing all of their threes. They missed their last 14 shots of the game. And I don't know what the danger is here. I don't want to be the one sounding the alarm on it because I do enjoy the playoffs and I enjoy basketball. But these games not being close unless the teams are shooting in the 30%, and then the two teams that are looking like they'll be representing the conference are both teams that nobody wants to watch aesthetically. You're not going to make the games close, and you're going to make Boston's really distorted everything where they're just going to make more threes than you, 4 out of 7 games, and on the 2 games that they can't shoot at all, they missed the last 14 shots last night, and then have us talking about Joel Embiid all of a sudden, because he's a pretty important player if he can stay healthy, but the last part of that sentence cannot be extracted from the first part.
It's the worst team to watch. They're just a math team. That's all they are. They're a math team. If they make more threes, did they make more threes last night? No? Okay, they lost. Yeah. The game before that, did they make more threes? Yes? Okay, they won. Yeah. And it's not like that in the other games. It's only the Celtics. If they make more threes, they win. If they miss more threes, they lose. They're the worst team to watch. Knicks, Sixers, it's going to be a good series.
That's one of Lebitard's panelists there. They're just a math equation, Cerrone.
Yeah. And then there's a little extra there because they're Heat fans that just, for some reason, got beef with the Celtics. There's a real rivalry there. But, I mean, but they're very predictable, like Barkley said. It's very predictable. They're not the only team that shoots a ton of threes and prays for them to go in. But it stands out more because everybody realized they're capable of doing more. Tatum and Brown are more than three-point shooters, but when they settle for that, that's a win for the defense. If I'm defending Jason Tatum and he's ISO dribbling in front of me, I'm terrified of what he can do with the ball. If he steps back and shoots a three, thank God. He bailed me out. I'm looking at Jaylen Brown's juggernaut shoulders in front of me. Like, if he's going to run me over, please don't run me. And then he steps back and shoots a three. You're like, yes. And something I had an old coach of mine, shout out to Ben Mitchell, old high school coach, tell me this. A missed three is essentially a turnover. You miss a three, it's a long rebound, the ball bounces out far, other team gets it, it's an outlet. You see Maxey, you miss a three, Maxey's gone. Ball is out. It's essentially a turnover. It's like if you miss 30 threes, it's almost like turning the ball over 30 times. If you miss a shot at the rim, you get a chance for offensive rebound. The team has to slow down or whatever.
You know, Mazzulla feels just the opposite.
Oh, I know he does. He believes it.
That clip that I played at 2:30, he mentioned the missed layup. He despises missed layups.
He brought it up on purpose, like, well, we missed layups too. No one asked that.
Yeah, but you know why? Because he's worried about them getting back, and if you miss at the rim, you're not back. He sort of likes the thought of missing a three because you're back and you're not getting beat in transition. He'd so much rather you miss from 25 feet than from 5. It's not even close.
But here's the thing: if you miss the corner three, and the ball bounces out to that guy's not getting back.
Why don't you worry about making the basket? You know, I mean, scoring in the paint opens up everything.
The game was designed to be scored in the paint. That's how it's been played for 5 decades. Get the easiest shot as possible. You got Larry Bird's number up there, one of the greatest shooters in the history of the sport. The man took like 2 threes a game in his career. His object was still, I'm getting the easiest shot. You're wondering why Jokic is killing everybody. He's the only guy in the NBA that said, you know what? I think I'm just going to get the easiest shot I can. Tatum and Brown, if they had that mindset, they'd both get 30 a night, shoot over 50%. But they're allowed to take the triple step back 3. Maxey even doesn't. I hate he travels when he does it. It's always 2 steps to the left, he takes a 3. Dude, you're the fastest guy on the court. What are you doing that for? But they won't adjust until, their backs are against the wall and they have no choice.
Griffin and AR. Go ahead, Griffin.
Hey, yeah. So obviously, Felger, sometimes you used to say coaching doesn't matter as much, like in the NBA, which I do agree with. But I think so. Nick Nurse has won a championship before with the Raptors, and I think people are kind of understating that. Like he's out coaching Mazzulla completely, and I think that's showing up here. Where I think the players do run the league in the NBA, but I just think Nick Nurse is out coaching Mazzulla right now, and he's a coach that has that pedigree.
Griffin, if you didn't hear it last year, then no problem. But last year I amended that. I came down off of that. I was once a big believer that coaching is absolutely just does not matter. And I do think it's still down the list of important things. But I've come off of that, Cerrone, because of the Celtics.
Yeah.
And I've seen, listen, the Indiana Pacers. The Indiana Pacers going to Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
I think they win that if Halliburton doesn't get hurt.
Is a huge reason how they get to that point is coaching and play style. That's not the most talented team in the league. I don't even know if the Pacers are a top 5 talented team in the league.
I think they're top 10.
Okay, so they're usually in the NBA, the 3 most talented teams, one of them wins. And so what's coaching matter? So that's always been my sort of philosophy. But how does Indiana go? How does Indiana go to Game 7 of the NBA Finals and you lose to the Knicks? Coaching is a big part of it.
Coaching, and Carlisle had them playing traditional basketball.
Well, play style is play style.
They had a true, authentic point guard whose job is to make everybody else better. They were the highest scoring team in the league. They moved the ball more than any other team in the league. And there they were in the finals in Game 7. And if Halliburton doesn't have that calf injury and then eventually Achilles goes, they beat the Thunder in that series, and the Pacers are champs, and everybody's saying how boring they are or whatever. No, they played the game the right way. Coaching mattered.
I like the way they played.
It's fun.
All the cutting and passing.
It's hard to defend. Now, imagine if they had talent.
On top of it. So anyway, would you say, Cerrone, that among Celtics fans that Joe Mazzulla is Teflon?
Yes.
Okay.
I think among some Celtics fans, yes, he is.
He does not get enough scrutiny from his own fan base. He's Teflon. Mazz is off this week, but Mazz's Tears.
Mazz's Tears
is sold. It's a sponsored element, so we're going to do it. And jumping off of Joe Mazzulla being Teflon, we're going to look at the biggest Teflon coaches and athletes here in Boston the last, this century.
Yeah.
Call it the last 26 years. We'll do that right after these words. I want to get to the gossip first.
Everything you said is right.
Felger and Mazz, the Sports Zone.
Bernardi Auto, they've got Audis, Hondas, and Toyotas. They are the ones who sponsor who Mazz thinks is a fraud and who's for real. Mazz's Tears.
Yeah, those are the tears of a clown.
Mazz's Tears.
The second tier.
Hold on, let me get my pen.
Mazz's Tears.
Dallas. Buffalo. Tennessee.
Mazz's Tears.
Let's hear it, Cerrone.
Tier.
Come on, you gotta go.
Mazz's Tears.
Tears. It's Mazz's Tears without Mazz. Still brought to you by the Bernardi Automotive Group, because when it comes to auto dealers, the Bernardi Auto Group always finishes top tier with Mazz. That's because they sell and service Acura, Audi, Honda, Toyota, and Volvo vehicles. Bernardi for now, Bernardi for life. Find them now at BernardiAutogroup.com. Cerrone and I think that among Celtics fans, Joe Mazzulla is Teflon. Can do no wrong. People don't really take a look at him. They don't really scrutinize him, or the team for that matter. I think in a lot of quarters, the team is Teflon. So it was just the inspiration for this week's tiers, which are Teflon sports figures in Boston. Call it this century. I don't know if I did anything that went back into the last century, but I'm happy to for conversation purposes. And Yeah, there's a lot of debate to this because certainly, like in this day and age, everyone gets criticism for everything. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, so there's going to be a few people chirping about everybody about something.
But you know the ones. I mean, the impetus of this is anyone that you mention, you either get the phone calls or they're all up in your mentions on social media. Like, what are you talking about? You don't know what you're watching. Did you even watch the game?
Okay.
That kind of thing.
So let's start. Tier 3, these are low-tier Teflon sports figures. I think Joe Mazzulla is one of them. I think we on this show, so like you have to take us out of it because we second-guess everything and bust everybody. But I think the large majority of Celtics fans are hands off of Joe Mazzulla. I think he's kind of Teflon. I think that loss to the Knicks last year somehow doesn't stick with him. That's
what
Teflon.
loss?
Yeah, right, exactly. What loss? Right, that's what, like, Celtics fans have to be reminded that you even lost that thing. So, Joe Mazzulla. I also put Bill Parcells on there. I think there was, at that time, he came and helped save the franchise, that he was lionized on that level where when he left, people blamed Kraft. Right?
Yeah.
So, not even that. Not even the way he carried himself in that, where he was a total a-hole. Stuck with him. I think subsequently, as we've gotten, as they started winning with Belichick, people have turned around and said, well, he abandoned the Patriots, F him.
Yeah, because something else better came along.
But in real time, I think most fans forgave Bill Parcells, even with the way he handled it in 1996.
And people kind of gloss over, I think he had like a couple 6-win seasons. And it's like, what? Like, same like Mazzulla. What 6-win season?
Well, exactly.
We went to the Super Bowl. That's all that mattered.
I think he went 4-12 in his first year and won 6 games after he made the playoffs.
He made the playoffs, then went back down to 6.
Okay, Bill Parcells. I put Randy Moss on there. This would be a tier 1 for Felger in my world.
Yeah.
But I'll put him tier 3. I think he gave you one good year. I think when Brady got hurt, he kind of quit on Matt Castle. When Brady came back, he started bitching about his contract, and that started about a year-long thing from the beginning of 2009 until they finally dumped him at the beginning of 2010, where he was just a total a-hole. And
I will readily admit this guy's Teflon to me. I still get irked to this day before I even worked on this show, but I would listen to you bitch about Randy Moss. I'm like, this a-hole. Randy Moss had one of the most dominant seasons in Patriots history as a wide receiver in the NFL. What is he talking about? Moss was the balls.
He dogged it 3 of his 4 years. He quit on the team.
That 2009 season was not great.
He shot his way out of town. He was a total a-hole behind the scenes. And you didn't even win with him. But I'm the only guy. So I consider Randy Moss Teflon. I didn't put it on the list. I should. David Pastrnak is in the same tier as Randy. He's the exact same guy. It's like, look at all the plays. Look at all the stats. Look at all these stretch the defense. And look at all this. And you forgive all the lazy play, the quitting play, the turnovers. Like, David Pastrnak is the exact same guy. I forgot to write him down. Randy Moss, David Pastrnak, the exact same guy.
Can I add one guy to that list right there?
Sure.
Ray Allen.
Okay, well, listen.
No one criticizes Ray Allen for anything.
Okay, listen, we'll throw it open when I'm done. But
okay, sorry about that. Go ahead.
So I put Claude Julien on this tiers as well. People were appalled when he got fired. People were horrified that they moved on from him. He went to Montreal, promptly took a first-place team out of the playoffs, and never did anything since. He was so overrated. And Bruins, I remember when I was ready to move on from him, which was, granted, I wanted him fired off the duck boat. It's like, well, who would you like to hire? So I don't know. It's not my job, but they hire the guy in Providence for all I know. I don't care. And they hired Bruce Casting. He was even better. So Claude Julien was Teflon. Tier 2. David Ortiz, Alex Cora, Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever say anything negative about Kevin Garnett?
No.
Not one.
Still don't, really.
Not one.
You can't find it.
Not one word.
Nope.
And I'm not telling you he did a lot of stuff wrong. But, like, nothing?
In this city to go that many... I mean, he was here for like 6 years. No one said a thing.
I defy you to find one negative word said about the guy ever. Yes, go ahead, Jimmy.
There was one. It was Tommy, God rest his soul, saying that he didn't want to trade Al Jefferson for Kevin Garnett.
It was before he even got here. Like, right. But once he got here, complete sacred cow. Yep. Complete. Won 1 championship. But you can't And, behind the scenes, Stu, maybe you know things that not everybody knows. I doubt he was perfect. But, oh, my God. Not
pretty close to it, actually.
Not a negative word at all.
He won the Celtics a championship.
Theo Epstein is also
definitely
on that list.
How's he not on your top tier?
That feels like a tier 1, Mike.
Okay, well, I put Theo Epstein tier 2 along with Ortiz, Core, and Garnett, and then Cerrone had a suggestion. What was your suggestion for tier 2?
Well, outside of this Gronk, Edelman, and Amendola, I don't know what that thing was.
So that troika,
whatever they were
Edelman,
called,
Amendola.
That little group right there could do no wrong.
Yeah.
I think they could have robbed the church and people would have said, let them go. I think they couldn't do anything wrong. And they're looked at as, you would think Amendola had 80 touchdowns as a Patriot, the way he's treated. And he was a role player, but he's in the same class as Edelman and Gronk, according to Patriot Nation.
Teflon, Boston Sports figures this century. Let's get to tier 1. I think the names are pretty obvious. Brady, Belichick, it starts with that. During their time here, absolutely Teflon. This show tried to say things about these guys. We were then labeled haters. The Brady in Decline show, et cetera, et cetera. Towards the very end, was there some chirping about Belichick? Sure.
But it took a long time.
It took
a long time.
20 years.
Yeah.
And even Brady at the very, very end, again, you have to separate us because we bag on everybody.
He had to go to Tampa for people to kind of turn on him.
And no one turned on Brady, hardly ever.
Brady and Decline show.
Thank you. That was us. Brady, Belichick, tier 1, Teflon. I put Danny Ainge on there. Danny Ainge could do no wrong among Celtics fans.
He got a couple years. He got beat up. The whole fireworks thing and all that. But I think they blamed the organization
him or was that
more than
Wick?
him.
Did he say fireworks?
No,
or did
Wick said it, but it was Ainge, his inactivity or whatever. But
okay,
he took some heat. But yeah, I'd put him on there.
I think he was lionized. I put Brad Stevens on this list.
1,000%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even as a coach, no one was calling for his firing when he got kicked upstairs. No one was saying
people were upset.
They got to make a change. No one said that.
Yeah. We had the bit on the show, the Brad bots. Brad Stevens can do no wrong.
Brad bots, 100%. Patrice Bergeron.
The Saint Patrice.
Saint Patrice. I defy you. Outside of this show to find anyone who ever said anything against Patrice Bergeron. Ever. I think he was a little overrated. If he's as great as you said he was, how did he only win one? I mean, I say that kind of stuff. Other than me. Other than the turd in the punch bowl right here in this seat. Who ever said anything about Patrice Bergeron? Patrice Bergeron got hurt in a meaningless final regular season game when they had the best record in the history of the league and they lost in the first round, and no one even remembers it. Now, of course.
Well, you kind of couldn't because he was playing in front of his dad who was sick.
His father was ill, and he wanted to play in front of him one last time in Montreal, and so he played in that game, but he got hurt. And it impacted his ability in the postseason. So, you sound like such an a-hole bringing it up, but it was for a individual reason that hurt the team. And me saying this is maybe the first time you've ever heard it because no one talked about it. No one ever said anything about St. Patrice. And finally, Terry Francona. I put Terry Francona on top of Theo.
Felger.
Because at the end, it went really bad with him like it did the rest of that team.
Felger.
The Bob Hohler story, people rallied around Terry Francona because they, believe he got smeared rightly. Neglecting the fact that it was true. He had a lot of problems that hurt the team. Yet no one brings it up. Like no one references Terry Francona's problems at the end.
What problems?
They only reference exactly the Bob Hohler story. That is Teflon. None of that.
You acting like you want Victor to catch every night.
Terry, he needed to catch more than you played him.
Felger.
Yes, Terry. So that's Teflon. He was running around doing the wrong things in a lot of cases too, just like his team. But none of it has stuck to him. None.
Whoa, wait, say that again?
People have blamed Bob Hohler and the Globe, not Terry Francona. The definition of Teflon.
We had an idea to do something like this on Saturday when Leroy came with the idea because I think there's one other person that should be on that list, the top of the list.
Suggestions, omissions. I missed something at the very top of the list. What do you got? 617-779. Sorry, Tito. 779-0985 calls on this and the Celtics right after Murray's 90-second update. No commercials.
Felger.